Hello everyone, and welcome to our live interaction show on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie, and I'm your host for this evening. Finally got a clean sheet today as Liverpool beat Marseille 3-0 in what I would describe as a professional performance. So, what we'll do during the show, we'll review the match, speak about some of the standout performances today, and this is also a call-in show. So, if you'd like to call in and have your say, a link has been pinned in the live chat. So, feel free to hit that link, and I will get you on later in the show. So, let's start in terms of the match review. Now, in terms of the game, I'll be quite honest with you guys. I thought it was a bit of a boring first half, to be honest with you. Definitely not entertaining from my point of view. But what I will say is that we did create some chances and maybe could have taken the lead earlier than planned. McAllister had a shot from the edge of the box, which unfortunately he dragged wide. Ekitike thought he gave Liverpool the lead as he scored from close range. Unfortunately, he was correctly ruled out for offside. In terms of Marseille, our opponents, Guri had a shot for defense side, but Alisson did a fantastic save to parry the ball away from goal. Liverpool hit a counter attack with Frimpong hitting across towards Salah, who tries to dink the ball over the keeper, but was very unlucky with his attempt as the ball lands on the roof of the net. But just before half time, and couldn't have timed it perfectly, Liverpool take the lead through a Szoboszlai a free kick that was executed with real intelligence. As Szoboszlai hit the shot low and under the wall and found itself into the back of the net to give Liverpool the lead before the half-time whistle. And in the second half, I think that gave Liverpool a bit of a boost because they started very, very positively. Ekitike and Florian Wirtz combining very well on that left-hand side. Wirtz trying to hit a shot, but in the end gets blocked by the Marseille defense. Wasn't quite decisive in that moment. The ball was stuck in between his feet, so needs to be a bit more instinctive when it comes to those sort of moments because he's more than capable of scoring goals, especially being inside the box. Greenwood had a shot for Marseille that on the edge of the box, which was parried away from Alisson. So good save from our keeper. Szoboszlai produced a fantastic through ball to Ekitike, um, who's through on goal, hits the shot first time, but unfortunately hits that outside of the post. For me, very unlucky as he did everything wrong, did everything right, I should say, sorry, but just was very unlucky in terms of the finish. Marseille almost hit Liverpool on attack um, after McAllister's navy touch that led to a counter attack for defense side. Greenwood tries to find Traore, who hits a terrible shot that goes over the bar. And then everything was coming through the left-hand side. Kirkes and Verts combining, and they've been showing some great 1-2s in the last few weeks. They've formed a great partnership on that left-hand side. Florian Verts has a shot as he finds himself inside the box. Uh, Saved by the goalkeeper, which is really. Uh, but for me, I think Verts should have gone for the other side of the goal, and he would have had a better chance of converting. Ekitike has another chance with a lethal effort. Nice pass from McAllister in terms of the build-up play there. But Ekitike, for me, needs to keep it down in that moment. But to be fair to him, it should have been a corner, as Rooney did get fingertips on the shot. But Rooney wasn't able to deny Liverpool's second goal as Frimpong takes on his player on the right-hand side, drives inside the box, tries to hit a low cross, but luckily for Liverpool, the cross hits the inside of Rooney's leg and rolls into the back of the net. Now, not the cleanest of goals, and it would definitely have not have been a ping pong goal because the ball was not going towards the goal. It was more or less across on the face of the goal, to be fair. But that was all ping pong in the end because he was direct and tried to make something out of nothing by going through the player and finding himself in a great position near the goal. So, sometimes you got to make your luck, and that's exactly what he did in that moment. Salah had a great opportunity to try and add another goal to the tally. Gakpo just came off the bench, lays it up to the Egyptian king, but he tried to hit the shot with the outside of his boot. Fortunately, got it all wrong, and the ball completely misses the target. But speaking of Gakpo, he makes it 3-0 as Gravenberch threads the perfect pass to him on the left-hand side. He controls it, and Gakpo slots it into the corner to give Liverpool all 3 points. So, well, overall, if you would say it was a professional performance, it was a performance where I think we defended very, very well. We were very strong knitted as a collective. There were times where we were playing a back five, a back six even, just to make it difficult for our opponents. And as much as I say, it's not the kind of brand of football I like to watch, when you go to a stadium that is renowned for a hostile environment and atmosphere, and they are very vocal. They are literally Marseille's 12th man. Those sort of stadiums are very, very difficult to get results, and I think we did a great job in doing that. So it's almost the perfect away victory in European football or Champions League football, I should say. And that's the kind of football that we've seen over the years, especially during Rafa Benitez era, where we had to play to our strengths, i.e., not to overcommit in terms of attacking play. We had to be patient, build our play, and then hit the other team on the counter. And it's kind of similar to what we did today. So look, overall, a good result, 3-0 win, a clean sheet, which has been a long time coming, and a solid win that allows us to climb up the table of the Champions League. I think we're only 2 points away from qualification now. So one more fixture remaining, which is against Karabag, I think in the next couple of weeks. So once that fixture is concluded, we'll be entering the next phase of the Champions League. So overall, very, very pleased with the performance. I'm not going to go as far as to say we're back, and I'm not going to speak too much sort of poetry in terms of his performance. I think it was a good performance, so credit is given where it's due. But I wouldn't go as far as saying that we're back or anything of that nature because I still feel like there's things in this team. We're not playing the brand of football that I want to see our team play. And that's not just from a sort of a greedy perspective that I just want to see attacking football. We've got the players that are capable of playing that kind of brand of football, and we're not playing to their strengths, in my opinion. So I think that needs to change going forward. But I'm sure we'll be having those discussions uh, during this stage of the season. Now, in terms of standout performances, um, Alisson made a few good saves. I thought he did really well today, commanding in the box, and wasn't really troubled at all. So a solid performance from our Brazilian keeper. Frimpong, I thought was very, very bright on that right hand side. What was interesting today was to see Salah playing more as an inside forward rather than a right winger. And I think that suits his skill set or his current stage of his career right now, where, let's be honest, he's not going to take on the fullback. He's not going to go past players with his blistering pace. He's still quick, but not quick enough to take two, three man on in that way. So I feel like the role of playing as an inside forward or even finding himself in pockets in a more of a central position where he's probably the furthest player up top. I think that suits his skill set because he's going to be utilized for one of his strongest assets, which is him being a finisher in front of goal. Having him on the byline for me doesn't work anymore. There's no point of doing that. So we have to utilize his skills and use it to our advantage. So I feel like that was an interesting tweak today. And because you've got a player like Frimpong playing at right back, but whether he's at right back, right mid, right wing back, right wing, however you describe him, wherever he's on that right hand side, he's going to be playing in the same manner. So he's going to play with a direct approach and he's going to attack that byline constantly. And that's what he did today. So he gave us that whip on the flanks and gave Marseille a bit of a headache because of his blistering pace. So for me, I thought he performed really well and was one of our standout players, I would say, today. Gomez, I thought was really good. Solid performance considering that he's just, come into the team, hasn't really played a consistent run of games. But he didn't look out of place. He looks very solid um, in terms of around Van Dijk and around the players. But what was more impressive was his distribution. Passing was really good, making the right pass at the right time, not trying to do any of this Hollywood stuff. Like he just kept it neat and simple, and it helped the players, it helped the team, tick from a defensive point of view, and then help build up the play as they went further up the pitch. So I thought he had a very solid performance, as well as Van Dijk. I thought he was really solid. Wasn't troubled at all. So a stellar performance from him. Perkins, I feel like he's getting better game by game. Like something has definitely switched, or something has ignited in his ability, because he's playing with real confidence now, real assurance. He doesn't look out of place. He doesn't look like he doesn't deserve to be where he is. And I feel like he's making that left back position his own right now. So for me, another solid performance. He didn't make any errors that I can remember. I thought it was solid defensively from an attacking point of view. He made a couple of marauding runs that were really helpful, led to a few chances being created. He's already formed such a great partnership with Burks on that left hand side. Although I prefer Burks in a more central position, playing as a number 10. But of course, there will be times where he shifts on the left hand side, and they've already got a great understanding on the pitch. So for me, Kirkes was close to being my man of the match. I've given it to someone else. I've given it to Gravenberg. I think Gravenberg was really good today. He had to play a bit more of a controlled role, where he had to drop deep a lot of the times during the game. He was pretty much forming a back three, splitting in between Van Dijk and Joe Gomez. But what he was doing really well, he was keeping the shape of the team, keeping the ball. His ball retention was really good. And never gave the ball away. And in moments, produce marauding runs in terms of carrying the ball, and got himself an assist in the last stage of the game. So I thought that was a very solid performance. I didn't really give up in terms of any physical battles, but he was definitely the engine in our midfield. So a good performance from Groundberg today. And for me, maybe because he hasn't performed as well as he normally does in the last few weeks. For today, he really stood up for me. So he gets my man of the match award today. Now, in terms of McAllister, I thought McAllister was decent today. There was times where his distribution was really good in terms of his passing range, pinging the balls at the right time, even doing a few 1-2s on the edge of the box. However, there were a couple of moments where he gave the ball away and it led to Marseille counter-attacks. Now, if they were a bit more clinical, that could have easily led to goals for the opponent. So I want to say it was a fantastic performance, but it was a good, solid performance from McAllister. And of course, long may it continue in terms of his sort of performance levels, because it has been hit and miss this season. Continues this man, hopefully help us claim more wins, and maybe more so in the Champions League. I feel like it's a bit more suited to him. It's not playing at a more frantic or aggressive speed. He's able to take time and distribute the ball whenever he feels like it needs to be done. So maybe the European game suits him a little bit more currently. But I think in general terms, he's improving, he's getting better, and hopefully, it continues as the season goes on. So Bosley, yeah, I thought he was really good today. Great engine as always. The goal, spectacular effort there. Intelligent, knowing that they were going to jump, and he just hit low and hard into the bottom corner. Now in terms of the second half, I thought he did well. Couple of moments where I felt like he maybe could have been a bit more precise with his passing. There were quite a few sort of final passes that were blocked by Marseille, or he delayed a little bit. So that's something he needs to improve on, I would say, going forward. But overall, very solid performance. Salah, good to see him back in the lineup. I think he performed to a decent level. Um, I would say, he was a bit more on the positive side for me, because we had a more of an attacking threat from that right-hand side. And I like the fact that he was coming inside and trying to get himself in goal scoring opportunities. Didn't have a lot of shots on goal or towards the goal today. I think maybe he should have scored one, to be fair, later on in the game. But a good inclusion for Salah. He's been out of the team for quite a few weeks, so hopefully, he's able to regain that sharpness in front of goal and help Liverpool for the rest of the season. Verts, I thought was very good today. Showed his skill set, gliding with the ball. There were times where I felt like he could have been a bit more decisive in his passing and shooting as well. But overall, probably one of our, I would say, most creative players in the team. So he gave us that spark in the final third. So I was impressed with his performance today. Ekitike, I know he had a lot of shots and didn't convert today, But I like the fact that, he kept on trying, he kept on finding himself in good positions and never gave up. So that's what I want from my attacker. Because you do get strikers nowadays who, if they miss one opportunity, their head goes completely down. He's not like that. He's quite cool. He's quite calm and collected, and he's got a touch of arrogance in a good way where he knows he'll be able to get himself in a good goal scoring opportunity as the game goes on. So I thought he had a good performance today. Unlucky not to be on the score sheet, especially with the shot that hit the post. But I feel like he showed a good account of himself. And Jones didn't really have much impact. I just remember him having one mazy run on the left hand side, so I don't remember too much in terms of his contribution. Gakpo, I said this during the watch along. I think this is the role he should be playing, coming off the bench, playing for the last 10, 15, 20 minutes, because he plays more aggressively. And I don't know if it's because he's angry that he never started or, whatever the case is, but it suits him because when he comes off the bench for the final stage of the game, he's direct. But you need a direct player in that moment of the game where you're trying to kill off the team. So I wasn't surprised in terms of the approach that he took in this game. The goal, bread and butter for Gakpo in that position. So good finish from him. And look, in terms of this season, of course, he will be in and around the team. I still feel like we need to upgrade on that left wing role and have Gakpo in more squad rotational sort cycle position for him next season. And I feel like it will benefit the team, but also benefit Gakpo, who I feel like will be more impactful coming off the bench. So that's my assessment of the players. What I'll do now is I will go through the comments and yeah, present it to you guys on the screen. So Mark said, big up Ozzy. Do you think Slot gets a new contract after this? As many fans are calling for Ozzy. Oh, really? They're calling for a new contract after this performance? I haven't been on social after the game, so I haven't really seen much. But if that's the case, I think that's a bit of a overreaction. Don't get me wrong, it's a good result, it's a professional performance, and I like the way we defended. But that's not the brand of football I want us to play all the time. So new contract for that? Yeah, not for me, not at all. Also, we have showed we can beat teams that are offensive and open like Madrid, Frankfurt, Marseille. But it is when you really need a game, need a plan from the coach. We have failed like against Forest, Fulham. I want to say that we've failed against Forest and Fulham because we don't have a plan. We're just not able to play against teams that present the low block, that are overly physical, and that hampers the way we play because this current football players are very technical. So I feel like this team has been built for the Champions League. If I'm being honest, they've not been built for, they haven't been recruited for the Premier League campaign, and I feel like that because it's been evident we've lacked power and a physical presence in our team this season in the Premier League. And that's why we've been drawing and losing to teams like Forest and Fulham and Leeds United. So there's a reason why we're struggling against those type of teams. But the performances that we've done really well this season are against teams that are willing to play open football. Um, and that's what Arne keeps complaining about. But the thing is, whether we like it or not, you can't blame teams for playing a low block against Liverpool when you've got a talented squad like ours. That's the one way of breaking us down or stopping us from scoring. So you have to be adaptable to play against teams of different styles, and that's nothing we haven't done. We just expect everyone to play good football, and then we just go toe to toe against them. That's not how football works. Football is all about different styles. You know, in terms of combat sports, they say styles make fights. Styles make matches as well. So in this regard, you have to try and play to your strengths and you have to try and outsmart the opponent from a tactical standpoint, whether you adapt your style of play or whether you tweak your team, whatever the case, the goal is to win the match, and that's how it should be. But we haven't done that this season, and I feel like there's been times where we've taken the lead but we've not capitalized and we've gotten a bit complacent, and therefore attracted more pressure from the opponents, and it's led to us dropping a lot of points, whether it's a draw or a defeat. It hasn't helped in terms of the way we are performing as a team. So that's probably a conversation in terms of the long-term vision of the team. But when we play against teams like Madrid and the Frankfurts and the Marseilles and the Inter Milan, I'll probably add to that as well. You're able to play a bit more different. Like today, for example, we had less possession. Marseille had more of the ball, so that probably suited us because we didn't need to be overly aggressive in terms of upstaging the opponents. That they were the home team, so we played our role and kept our shape and hit them on the counter, and that's it worked for us today. But that's not how I want us to play every game because it doesn't really appeal to me, to be honest. Um, Bo says, but I have understand now that he will be the coach for out. He will be the coach out the season. But do you really feel like he won't be here next season? I don't think he will be here. That's just the feeling I get. Because I don't feel like he's convinced the fans that he's the coach for us for the long term. Uh, we've spent 450 million pounds last summer, but we haven't improved as a team. So when you're thinking from a business standpoint, if you've invested that amount of money and no improvement has been made in the team, you have to question the coaching of the team. And that's why, for me, Arsenal will be dismissed from his duties at the end of the season. That's not me being rude or cheeky. That's just me trying to assess the situation and seeing what the owners could do when they do the end of season review. And I think that will be the most likely outcome. But that's just my opinion. Bo said he looked much more aggressive and energetic on the sideline today, Ozzy. Is that because of the stress and pressure he feels, you think, Ozzy? Maybe, or maybe he was trying to energize the team and let them know, you got to press harder because we weren't pressing that much. But as the game went on, especially in the second half, we played with a bit more energy. So maybe that's the message that he was trying to implement to his players. Uh, so I don't think that's down to stress or pressure. I just think he was trying to get the best out of his players during the game. Boss says hopefully no team picks up Alonso before next season. The Ozzy can actually see it. Then we are stuck with the squad for the next 10 years. I wouldn't go that far to say we're with him for the next 10 years. Klopp didn't manage to stay with us for 10 years. Why would you think Arsenal will stay for 10 years? So I don't agree with that. In terms of Xabi Alonso, look, if he wants to join a Tottenham or a team like that, that's up to him. But he knows there is a possibility of him becoming Liverpool manager. So I'm sure he will reject any interest or offers that come his way. From what I've heard, I believe he's going to take some time off and then revisit or assess his options at the end of the season. So I feel like that's where Liverpool will be waiting on the wings and hopefully they'll get the man through the door. Because I really hope that Xabi Alonso is the Liverpool coach next season. Boss asks, how long do you feel Stott will be the coach for Ozzy? I can actually see it 10, 15 years, When have we had a Liverpool manager for 10, 15 years? So number one, we haven't. So, we don't have managers for that long. And number two, if you're asking for my opinion, I think this will be his final season, and then we'll have a new coach next season. Hopefully, Real Madrid, PSG, or Barcelona picks him up sometime. He could he could leave us for those three teams. Ozzy, who are you talking about? Arne Slot leaving for Real Madrid, PSG, or Barcelona? No, I disagree. I don't think he'll appeal to those teams. I think they'll go for different options personally. Seeing people online that are saying the performance was better than under all the years with Klopp, I don't know who you're following on social media, but they're talking a lot of nonsense. That was definitely not one of our best performances, or eclipsing what Klopp did. That's just absolute nonsense. Love how people are saying Slot in now. This game showed nothing in the coaching manner from Slot. Marseille were awful with the ball. All we had to do was press in the final third. Marseille were not good today. Marseille have played a lot better, especially when I've seen them in the Champions League. They're renowned to be a more aggressive team, especially from the front line. They were just a shadow of themselves. They didn't really have that sort of dynamicism in their team. They didn't really challenge us today. So some will say it was a comfortable performance. I wouldn't quite say comfortable because we weren't controlling the game in that manner, as in we didn't have 8 possession of the ball or anything like that. But I do feel like we had an idea. We kept our shape and we stuck to the game plan. So that's why we got the win, and we done it in a professional manner. Um, Gomez has to start every game when he is fit from now. Ibu are if and done now. Um, I like Gomez, but I still feel like you have to be realistic with his situation because he has suffered a lot of injuries over the years. So we can't afford to just play him week in, week out because we don't like the other fella who hasn't signed a new contract. Um, I think he's a very useful squad member. I don't think we should go over the top and say he should start week in, week out. I think he's on his, heyday. I think he's probably the better defender than Konate. I really do. But of course, Gomez hasn't produced that level of performances for a long time due to injuries. It's nothing about his ability as a player. When you are, struggling with injuries and you come into the team, but you're not starting week in, week out, it's very hard to find that rhythm. So for me, I think Konate and Gomez are two good players to have in rotation. And plus, we're not blessed with too many centre back options right now, so we have to be very mindful in who we select and how we play these players going forward. Hustle Boss, if you thought that was boring, then you're clueless. Watch some other sport. If that's your if that's your kind of brand of football, then I think you'll have to go and watch another sport because that's not attacking football. People watch football for, watching attacking play, not for a defensive, cautious manner of playing. So if that floats your boat, that's on you. It doesn't float mine. And I've been watching football for a long time. And just look at the Jurgen Klopp days. That's real football right there. So if you don't believe that's real football, then you have a different ideology of football because it doesn't relate to me. Bo said it was our attackers against an awful Marseille team. Uh, while we win in the games, we expect to lose, but not win against teams we should win. So damn lucky. Um, so this is Bo's player ratings. I'm not doing player ratings anymore. I feel like it's got a bit stale. So you're welcome to do that. I'm just going to give you my take on standout players going forward. But in terms of your rating, you've gone for 7 for Ali, Frimpong 8, Gomez 8, Virgil 7, Kerkez 9, Maka 7, Sabozla 8, Gravenberg 8, Salah 7, Bert 7, and Eketike 7. And Bo says we don't have plan for the low blocks. Ozzy, simple as yeah, we don't, but that shows a level of naivety or a lack of credibility as a tactician from Arne Slot because that's bread and butter to deal with a low block team. When you manage an elite team like Liverpool, every team or most teams, 9 out of 10, will be playing the low block against you. So why has he not found an answer for that? Last year he did. So why all of a sudden is it's like brand new information to him? Like he's never come across it ever in his career. So I find it bizarre. I don't feel like he's read the room in terms of analyzing the way the league is going. The league is being played at a more physical rate now, where teams are setting up to score set piece goals, and the open play is not as fluid as it used to be. It's not as technical, from the last few years. So the game of the English football of the Premier League, I should say more specifically, is evolving, and it's not evolving in a positive way, in my opinion. So that's why you've got to find the right balance. You've got to find players that are great on the ball, but also grafters as well. Players that will get stuck in and make their presence known to the opponents. So that's the way how the game should be played. But I feel like we've kind of missed the trick there. This was a season where we could have made it, back-to-back title wins, but unfortunately, that has not occurred. Just got a comment here from Steve. Big up Steve says, good evening, Rosie and chat. LFC needs to sign Desai, Donadoni, Albertini, Lentini, Maldini, Dossetti, Palatelli, and Andy Pele. So a few players from the past there. But that is it for today, guys. Short and sweet today. Thank you for tuning in. Shout out to Bo for your comments, and shout out to Delulu Steve, and shout out to Hustle Bonds. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Now, in terms of upcoming shows, I will be doing another show tomorrow as we will do the match preview of Bournemouth versus Liverpool. And then we'll be back on Saturday. I believe it's a 5:30 kickoff. So I'll be back um, at 5:25 UK time for the watch along, and then we'll do a match reaction show later in the same evening as well. But that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to speak with you all very, very soon. Goodbye.